Good day to you. It's a beautiful day here in USDA Zone 7. I'm sitting in my gardens and my Dipladenias are looking really beautiful, and I'm going to share my Dipladenias with you and a few tips on growing Dipladenias and what to do if you live in USDA Zone 7, because Dipladenia is not hardy to USDA Zone 7. It's hardy perennial to 8 and above, or an evergreen vine when it comes to USDA's 9, 10, and 11. So Dipladenia is special, and I'm going to tell you all about it today. So welcome to my gardens. I'm Spenta. If you're new to my channel, please take a moment and check out my content. And if you're one of my returning friends, then I thank you so much for your time, and I thank everyone for their subscriptions, comments, likes, and shares. And I'd like to get started on that Dipladenia so I can show you what flowers look like, and I can share with you how to grow them and how to successfully grow them if you are wanting to grow them in USDA Zone 7. However, if you are growing them in USDA Zone 7, you are going to have to overwinter them, and that means that you can place them in a pot outside, or you can plant them inside the ground, which is what I've done, and I'm going to share with you how to overwinter a beautiful plant like that and actually take it out of the ground, put it in the pot, and what steps I'm going to do. I'm Spenta, and I thank you for your visit. Your comments, likes, and shares are greatly appreciated. And I'm sitting by a hornet nest, so I'm a little bit nervous here. I hope the hornet's going to I hope I'm going to leave the nest alone. That way the hornet's going to leave me alone. So I'm going to get up right now, and I'm going to share the gardens with you. Hopefully I can make it past the hornet nest. Yes. I made it past the hornet's nest. Nevertheless, I'm a little afraid. Right here in between the hostas is one hornet nest, and right over here on the other side there is another hornet nest. So, I have lots of hornets going around, right? Lots of hornets going around. Woo-hoo. And here we are with the beautiful, beautiful tropical Dipladenia. It's such a gorgeous plant. Make sure you go to a proper nursery or actually a cultivator when you're wanting to grow plants and when you're wanting to transplant or anything like that, because most likely they know which plant is hardy to which zone and will be able to help you with transplanting them, moving them around, replanting them, and any step that is necessarily required in order for you to be growing this plant successfully. Let me tell you why I have to overwinter this beautiful plant, okay? The reason is I live in USDA 7, and if you check out my other content, they're also for USDA 7. So I'd like to let you know that I grow perennials and I grow annuals. Not so many annuals, because most of my plants are perennials. However, some plants are very, very beautiful and attract different varieties of pollinators. And because I grow my own herbs and spices throughout the year, and I also am a perennial gardener who has different herbs. You see, I have thyme over there, which will stay an evergreen for me, and I have rue. I also have mint, and going back there I have more oregano, and so behind me more mint, and I have parsley. So lots of different plants, and they like having pollinators around. So I planted daisies, Shasta daisies, which are very hardy, and you could see one right there in the back has bloomed, so they're pretty hardy, and there's another one to its right. And so I have lots of plants that are pretty and will bring in the pollinators, but I also like to focus on the color of the flower and what kind of pollinator it brings in. So if you have funnel-like flowers, just like similar to this, like a tube or funnel-like, they bring in more hummingbirds and they bring in different types of butterflies. And if you have flowers that are flat, they'll bring in different varieties of butterflies. So everything actually offers something different to your gardens. And I tell you something, honeybees I've seen on everything that is in my garden, so I can rest assured this attracts honeybees. Now, I did mention it's an evergreen. It's in zones 9 through 11. So what does that mean? It's a It's a hardy evergreen. So what does that mean? That means that it actually stays green, and it may not flower during the cooler season. However, it actually stays green. The leaves will not die. In USDA Zone 8, this plant will make it. However, you have to make sure you put so much mulch over it and it dies. However, it'll grow out of the ground again the next year. That being said, I'm in USDA Zone 7. This plant does not like it below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and my winters are down to negative 18 degrees Fahrenheit. What I like to do is I like to get the most out of Dipladenia, which is this plant. If you're just now coming in, I'm sharing about Dipladenia and how to overwinter it. What I like to do is actually take it out of the ground and place it in a container. Okay, so I will wait until the fall season, the autumn, and I will make sure that's when the flowers stop giving more. The plant actually stops giving the flowers near the fall autumn season, because it's telling it to go dormant. Remember, I mentioned that it doesn't like below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So the fall season here, it gets cool real quick and it gets into the 40s, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And so when it's around that time, what I need to do is I need to trim these plants down. Let me show you. Trim this down to where I can get closer to, let's see how I can show you where to go, down to here, this area. Let me grab this. Okay, so all of these flowers will be gone. All of these beautiful flowers will be gone. And you need to cut this plant and trim it down to right before it splits right here. Right there. Right there. Right before you get to the main point, right over here. This is where I will be cutting it down to in the fall season. Then I will let it sit and remain in the ground for another couple of days, about 48 hours to 72 hours. I'll take it out and I'll place it in a large pot, one that of course fits the plant, and you should always take that in consideration that your plants need space, the roots need space. Pot system is a little bit different than planting stuff in the ground, so keep that in mind. They need space and they need very good potting soil. I'll use some compost, so mine will be good potting soil. The pH will be just right for this plant, and I'll also add, so it's good, well drainage compost. That's very important for the pots and for overwintering this plant, this Dipladenia. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to place it in a pot, make sure that I add compost, potting soil, and a layer of mulch to this beautiful, gorgeous evergreen, which will be an evergreen for me as well. It's not an evergreen, it's an annual for me, but I'll make it an evergreen. It won't give any beautiful fuchsia-like flowers for me in the wintertime. However, I'll bring it right out when it's spring season, and I'll plant it back right over here where its home is, where the Dipladenia belongs, and it'll grow back again because it likes so much sun. It does really well with so much sun. So remember, your plant will not flower during the winter time. If the leaves start to look a little dry, don't worry. Make sure you always place a finger in your pot in the soil, just a little bit, an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, to see how wet your soil is. You don't want this to be soggy at all. You want this to stay at a neutral, decent water level so it can handle. And I tell you one more important tip. I will feed my Dipladenia with Osmocote. So I use Osmocote to feed my plants that are in pots every 6 to 8 weeks. This will need to handle 3 months indoors, and I'm looking forward to another year of Dipladenia. I'm Spenta. I wish you the best in your gardening. And I thank you for your subscriptions, likes, and comments. Have a beautiful day, and if you have any questions, let me know. Until next time.